to our third podcast, the Spread the Love podcast. My name is Julieta Silva, and we are with two other hosts.
Kirsten Rolls.
And I'm Snigdha Vapudi. I am the outreach manager over at Spread the Love. And our other co-host.
I'm also another outreach manager at Spread the Love.
We are leaders of a youth-led organization called Spread the Love, as you know, and we create encouraging letters, notes, and videos for children with special needs to read and enjoy. Now we'll be interviewing Therese, a family who received some letters from our team. So, Therese, can you please tell us a little about yourself and your family first? An introduction?
Good. I would love to. Thanks for inviting me. I am Therese. My daughter is Samantha, and she has a sister named Mackenzie. Samantha has Down syndrome and a visual impairment. So she's got an intellectual disability as well as trouble seeing. So she is actually blind in one eye and has a prosthetic eye, and that's as a result of her having microphthalmia, which just means one of her eyes is too small to work. So she has a prosthetic eye over top of it. I think she's going to come and say hello as soon as she hears me talking about her.
Yes.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Samantha.
Hi,
How are you?
Samantha. How are you? How are you?
Good. Good. We heard you were playing Pokemon. Is that what you were playing on your...
On her Wii, yeah.
You were...
Yes, your mom also told us that you really like to sing in the mornings.
I like to sing in the morning too.
Yeah.
What were you singing? Do you remember? I don't know. You had it on. What is it? Salt? I don't know what the song is called. Salt?
Ava Max.
By Ava Max. Okay, there you go.
Ava Max.
You guys will look it up later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so Samantha, if I can ask you a question to you, what was your reaction to opening the letters that our team sent you?
Do you remember reading these? With the ballet.
I remember you sent us a video too of her reading them.
Yeah. What did you think when you got the letters? Were you really happy? And they knew a lot about you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cool thing is she doesn't get a lot of letters. So it was fun having kind of a pen pal, but also the letters were specific to her. They weren't like generic letters. They had her interests, and they asked questions that she could answer and that she enjoyed thinking through. Am I embarrassing you? and cool little drawings of ballet shoes. They were every single one of them, basketball, soccer, dance, cheer. Every one of them were specific to her. So it wasn't like just getting, I don't even know what you call it, spam mail or anything. It was very much things that she was interested in, and she really enjoyed reading them, and they were at a level that she could read. And then she ended up reading them all out to us, which is great for us because that's her doing speech therapy without even knowing.
Yeah, we've noticed across the board that a lot of families like the fact that we ask them for some interest ahead of time so that the letters are more tailored to the kids.
Exactly.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
So I know Samantha's into like modeling. So can you tell us more about like how she got into modeling and her experience with like her agency?
Well, that's actually kind of an interesting story because I think she's beautiful, and everybody that knows her thinks she's beautiful.
Of course, yes.
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 And I love taking pictures. So we're constantly taking pictures. She has no problem being in front of a camera. And I started thinking, well, maybe her thing could be modeling. I started researching modeling agencies, and I sent some photos of her, and I didn't get any responses. So I started researching a little bit more kind of nationally and found out that it's really hard to get people with disabilities in media, that it's been kind of a long battle, basically a forgotten group of people. And then there are very few agencies that specialize in those with disabilities or physical disabilities, like physical disabilities. I forgot the word, sorry. And sorry, the dogs. Okay, so I looked into modeling for people with special needs, and I found it's not even a modeling agency. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's called Changing the Face of Beauty, and it's an agency that just encourages those with disabilities and physical disabilities to be used in advertising. And that's where it all started. So looked into that. They don't actually promote, or they're not an agency that uses models. They just encourage the use. Researched a little more, found Zebedee Management, and they are the ones that she signed with. And they're from the United Kingdom. They are a very big agency. So we signed with them, and we're hoping to get a job with them. It's really fantastic. They have visible differences. So there's people that have skin differences, amputees, people with Down syndrome, you name it. They have a model that kind of fits that bill. And what's amazing about that is our families buy things too. So why wouldn't we want to see this beautiful face in a commercial or on a TV show or doing an ad for tiaras, which she wears often? I'm going to go get one now. So that's how it all started.
And we noticed that on your Instagram that you were talking about how she was going to be a runway model for a virtual runway show too on February 14th, right?
Yeah. So that's another just a remarkable organization. It's a nonprofit that encourages, the use So it's called Runway of Dreams Foundation. And they are putting on, it's a virtual event this year, but I believe in the other years it has been like a live event. But we videotaped her walking down our little hallway in our house in her outfit that Zappos Adaptive sent to us. So they asked for her sizes and some of the things she likes and sent us this cute little outfit with matching shoes and gave us.
I love it. I love it. You have a lot of tiaras?
20 of them.
Is that your favorite one?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, so that's how it all started. And then I'm finding more and more that they're slowly but surely using people with disabilities in advertising and TV shows and movies. And if you saw the Peanut Butter Falcon, which is now one of our favorite movies, has an adult male with Down syndrome, and he's the star of the movie. So
we should totally check it out. I'm gonna get off script for a minute, and I'm just gonna ask, and yeah, I'm just gonna add to what you say, más bien. For example, I just know like the Madeline Stewart. She is a Down syndrome model. So like, and like you said, thankfully, like we are making progress to media. And for example, I'm sure that my mom in her time, I'm not calling her old by any means, but just saying that like I'm pretty sure that my mom wouldn't have seen Madeline Stewart in her time. And I don't know, in now like we are like as Gen Z and just like, and Samantha and Stigma and Kristen and I are now exposed to more like to a bit more diversity in like advertisement and just modeling overall. And like I'm glad that we're starting to like move in the right direction. But of course, Madeline Stewart is, for example, one of the few that I know, that I personally know. So hopefully we get to see Samantha in like the near future, though maybe she can be a staple of sorts now.
And I noticed I'm a huge Grey's Anatomy fan, okay? And there is one of the actresses on the show, Katrina, I forget, Score, something like that's her last name. I don't remember how exactly to say it, but I know she has a daughter who is part of the special needs community. I don't know if you know about her or that, but I know that like we're getting exposed to more and more representation that I didn't get exposed to before, and I think that's an amazing thing to see and like to have that growth.
Yes. So I think it can only increase. You know, it's only going to get better. Yep.
Oh, the dog. So cute.
Cute.
What's its name?
Oreo.
Say it again. One more time.
Oreo.
Oreo.
Did you pick that name out?
Cute.
She and her sister did, because he's black and white.
Oh.
So the other thing that she's done that's kind of, in my opinion, broken barriers is doing ballet dancing. So although ballet is really open to anyone, there's not always specialized instruction. So people with Down syndrome are considered to have low muscle tone and very, very flexible joints. And then you add the intellectual disability, and it's a little bit harder for them to do it safely. So we have, I think it's been 8 years, have been going to Ballet Arizona, which modeled their ballet classes for adaptive kids after one that started in Boston. And it has now become really big in Arizona. They have multiple classes, all different age groups. And Sam has been doing it for so long that she's in the advanced class. And she has also been in the Nutcracker, Ballet Arizona's The Nutcracker, for 2 years. And she was supposed to be in it again this year, but it got canceled because of COVID. But she had 2 different parts. The first year, she was a small soldier. And the second year, she was a small angel. Now, I talked a little bit about her visual impairment. So she is completely blind in one eye, and then her good eye, she can see about 3 feet without her glasses on. So picture her on a stage, and they do not let you wear glasses in the Nutcracker. No one can wear glasses. So she had to memorize where the girl was next to her at all times. So she would memorize where she was supposed to be based on the movements around the stage of the girl in front of her or behind her, depending on which direction she was going. So that was really, really challenging, and she did an amazing job. She's the only one that has had a intellectual disability that has been in the Nutcracker at Ballet Arizona, and we are thrilled with that program. Can't say enough, and we really hope that that too grows in other cities, that this is not an unusual event. We also found another group called All Hands In, which is in our town in Arizona, that it's a class 100% of kids with disabilities, and she loves doing that too, and that's all sorts of dance. It's very, very inclusive.
That was
really
our second question for you. You just answered
yeah.
that. So thank you.
An all-rounder with the singing and the modeling and the dancing. Like, you got it all covered.
Yes, you really do. I'm also 17, and like my biggest accomplishment as of now is just waking up before 12. So
Yeah.
you're doing
amazing.
You're doing amazing. I'm still like in bed right now, but
Yeah.
you don't have to.
That's really good though that you've been able to do that, because I have friends who do ballet and they've mentioned to me how difficult it is as it is. And you being able to do that with memorizing the steps of the person next to you and everything that you've done with ballet, like that's a really big accomplishment. I'm really proud. That's really good.
Yes, we're proud of you. Oh, we love the crown.
I'm afraid I'm gonna break it.
So another thing we wanted to ask was, we noticed that she does a lot of ballet and things like that, and that's a lot of like people interaction, right? So because of COVID, how has that been? How has that changed?
It has been really difficult. And I know it affects everybody, that everybody is probably a little bit lonelier, not having so many interactions with people, but it has really impacted those with disabilities. They cannot get out as much just because of some physical disabilities. They're missing all the natural interactions that would happen in a grocery store. And then somebody like Sam, who having Down syndrome puts her at a higher risk of having more severe COVID. We have really had to limit how much interaction she's had with other people. So her best friend, who also has Down syndrome, has not been in school since this whole thing started. So she's missed out on just normal interactions going into high school or having her friend over, just meeting in public. It's just been really, really hard. So
are you doing
hopefully
online school? I'm sorry to interrupt, but are you doing online school? Like,
no, starting last March, it went 100% online. And then this year they had a couple hours a day, so about 2 hours a day in class, and it just now opened back up. But she's really good about wearing a mask and washing her hands. And she's in, most of the day, she's in a self-contained classroom right now just to keep it in a smaller group. They eat outside, which is great about being in Arizona, that they can eat outside. So it's been really, really scary for our family. She has been hospitalized twice with infections that probably wouldn't have done much to a typical kid. So we're very happy that more people are getting vaccinated. I don't mean to bring that up, but her dad is a police officer and I'm a firefighter. So we're both at higher risk of getting it. And we've both been vaccinated. And just that alone has decreased our stress level, that she's now going to be safer because we are.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
yes, yeah, let's not get like into like the politicized thing, right? But like, honestly, I'm really glad that the vaccination can bring a sense of stability and a sense of like calm, just
And peace to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. So I know you mentioned before that Samantha has a sister. Could you kind of go into like your family dynamic and how her Down syndrome kind of affected the family dynamic?
We did not know that she was going to have Down syndrome when she was born. We had tests done, just normal tests. I didn't even know they were running. And they said after one of the blood tests that she had a 4% chance. And then we had an ultrasound done and some other stuff, and they said 2%. So in our minds, 2% out of 100 is not really that much. So we didn't know entirely that she would have it until within seconds of being born. So it was a surprise to us. She was our first daughter anyway, our first child. So we had a lot to learn. Our family has been amazingly supportive. We have had stuff happen with the community that has not been that supportive, but our friends and family just said congratulations, which leads me to another point. If you find out that someone is going to be born with a disability, or you come across someone with a disability, you do not say to the family, "I'm sorry." Mm-hmm. The best thing to say is congratulations. So that's my little soapbox. Please don't say you're sorry. And some of the cool things that have happened is she did really well in the pool, loves being in the water. So right as soon as she was a year old, which is when her pediatrician said it would be safe for her to put her face in the water, we started doing swim lessons. And at that point, she was still working on getting the prosthetic eye. So if you can imagine starting at 3 months, trying to put a prosthetic eye in a kid's face, oh my goodness. So she had to work up to getting one that looked similar to her other eye. So it was very obvious that she had a physical difference. And little kids had no problem walking up to us saying, "What's wrong with her eye?" And their parents would be horrified that they did this. And I took those opportunities to embrace that little kid coming up to me and asking, because that's how you learn. And that's how you, I think, decrease the chance of, what's the word I'm looking for? Bullying and just treating people differently who look different. So it opens awareness, it opens understanding. And I just loved it. I took every opportunity I could to answer those questions in a way that little kid could understand, and then would thank the parent for allowing me to talk to their kid about my kid's disability.
Yes, asking questions. The previous podcasts have also been with families with Down syndrome. And yes, most, like all of them, and you included, are like in the agreement with like basic human decency. Just basically, if someone asks a question, especially if it's a young child, is like, especially like the tone, depending on how they answer the question. I mean, how they ask the question is just like a learning opportunity that like you mentioned, to basically educate more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, you're not always prepared for stuff when it happens. And I think that there were enough things that happened before those little kids started saying stuff that I had a chance to almost practice it in my mind so that I was ready and I didn't react. I didn't overreact. I tried to answer them calmly and welcome questions. So there were instances before those that were pretty upsetting, to be perfectly honest. So it took a little practice.
I know that there's a stigma around. I mean, it's there. And I know it's getting better, but I know there is still, like, people treat people who are part of the special needs community differently, as if they aren't just like everyone else. And I've noticed that in my school, because our school, we try to, we have like groups for people with special needs in our school. And so they go to, I mean, the main like 4 core subjects of like math, English, and whatever, they have like classes just for themselves, but like the other classes like choir and then even just regular lunch and all, I've noticed that there are people that will embrace them and talk to them and, you know, like have that interaction with them. And then there are people that will stay away from them completely, which I will never understand why that's the case and why people can't just treat them like they treat other people.
I don't know if I have an answer to that other than it is a lack of understanding. And I kind of went off on a tangent. You asked about her relationship with her sister. Samantha, I think because she had her dad and me around her all the time, she never felt the need to call out to us because we were always right there. Well, her sister is 22 months younger. And Mackenzie was the first person that Samantha called by name. So Mackenzie would be up. We'd carry Sam down because she was still struggling to walk when Mackenzie was born. And Sam would yell down the hallway in his teeny tiny little voice, ZZ, ZZ. It was absolutely the cutest thing. And that's how Sam still sees her to this day. In Samantha's eyes, Mackenzie is everything. So they are still just like typical sisters. So they'll argue and they'll get upset. And I know Mackenzie sometimes has had a tough time because Sam gets a lot of attention because she needs therapy and doctor's appointments. So it pulls us away. But overall, I think Mackenzie is incredibly proud of her, and Samantha is Mackenzie's biggest cheerleader.
That's so amazing to hear. I know sibling relations can be hard. I have a younger sister myself, and it's especially because of COVID, we've all been home more, right? So we see each other more. So instead of like me having my sport practices or whatever, I'll be home the whole day. And so there's so much more room for arguments and all that. But I honestly think that we've gotten closer due to COVID. Now, I'll never admit that to her. But I think we've gotten closer through quarantine and this whole pandemic. And I think that's happened for a lot of families where they've gotten a lot closer. I mean, at least speaking for myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of families have, right? Just gotten closer over time because of this. There's, I guess you can make the best of it or the worst of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Another question we had, which you kind of touched on, but I just wanted to see if there was anything else. When we've talked to other family with people with special needs, they've talked about the community around them and how they've been supporting and things that they've done to be supportive and other like activities that they have. But then there have also been people who have been on the opposite side. So we kind of wanted to ask if there was anything you could touch on about like the good things, the bad things, like everything.
So when Sam was born, like I said, my husband and I are in public safety, so we're not used to asking for help. So that was probably the hardest thing to get used to, was reaching out to support groups and other parents with kids with disabilities. So that was foreign. We had to learn how to do that. We had to learn to advocate for her really quickly because of feeding issues and not gaining weight. And we knew there was something wrong with her eye and her hearing was off and all these different tests were happening. We didn't quite know how to navigate it. So my best advice for a new parent or someone who thinks they're going to have a kid with a disability is to start reaching out right away. Don't look at it as a weakness to ask for help. We have had amazing support groups in our area. There's 2 really big ones, but then you include, so when Sam was just a teeny tiny baby, Jenna Johnson from Sharing Down Syndrome Arizona came over to our house and almost kidnapped that kid. She just held her and told her how beautiful she was and just snuggled her for probably 2 hours and just talked to us about how much hope there was for Samantha and how many things she would learn and how she would make other people's lives better. And I think that's 100% right. We have had other situations because Sam's speech has been impaired. It is harder for some people to understand her. So that's been tough all along. So having speech therapy and feeding therapy in particular has made a huge difference in our lives just with her communicating. Initially, she had about 5 words until she went to preschool, which was about 3. But she was able to do sign language. So she had about 100 signs and could talk to pretty much anybody that knew signs, or if we were in the room, we could interpret for her. But it was an amazing thing to learn. Her doing sign that we could actually communicate with her, had fewer temper tantrums, fewer miscommunications. But the minute she went to preschool is when her speech just blew up and she really started speaking. And it was just being around other little kids and teachers who were really well versed in kids with disabilities. So I overall, it's been an amazing experience and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I think most people that meet her would say the same thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think we had one final question. So I know Samantha's currently 17 years old. Is she planning on going to college afterwards? I don't know what grade she is in high school.
She is in junior. She's a junior in high school. She loves school. She runs the bus every single day, which I don't know many kids that do that. So she is thrilled to go. She wants to go to college. We don't know what her options will be. There are not a lot in Arizona, so I don't know what that will mean. We've started researching. So I don't really know. I know she wants to keep modeling and acting, so that might be the way she goes, but she's not going to end at high school. That's for sure. We just don't know where she'll go or what it will look like. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask because I feel like that's a really big, I feel like modeling's a big commitment. I mean, I've never done it or whatever, but I know like modeling ballet, like that sounds like a big commitment and that's like a big part of her life. So I wouldn't imagine her wanting to give that up for just like going to college and not doing that.
Yeah, and she loves road trips. She loves getting on a plane, so she would have no problem traveling. Yeah, so I don't know. We're going to have to, we have another almost year to really think about what she's going to do. She can stay in our school district. They have a program for after high school. So that might be something that she does for a little bit just to give us some more time to help her grow and for us to figure out what all of her options are. And then we keep hearing about new programs. There's just not a lot of them. So typical kids can choose multiple colleges in their state. There's community colleges, there's trade schools. Well, people with disabilities don't have as many options. So it's going to be a little bit harder for us to find one, but I'm pretty sure we're going to find something that she'll love.
Yes. I'm very grateful that there's like a lot of options now, like you said, community college, all that, and even online college. I know that Our Lady of the Lake, or something, I don't know. There's like a lot of online colleges as well. So there's, like you said, there's no need to stop at high school. It's like she can always, I really hope she goes forward with modeling and acting. I really hope so. I would love to see her in the big screen and on billboards and all of that. Like, I'm rooting for her. I'm pretty sure all of us are. So yeah, so we can follow your journey and Samantha's journey. We're nearing the end of the podcast, mostly because of Zoom it's not allowing us to continue. So would you mind we can give you an opportunity to plug yourself, so you can maybe share your Instagram journey, your Instagram username and
everything else, modeling, the Runway, anything you want.
Yes.
Okay.
Where can followers find you?
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I can't even describe to you what her, how excited she was to get letters from people that she had never met. And then, like I said, read them that were tailored to her and her interests. And it was just amazing, especially from people that are about her age. Her Instagram page is Not Your Ordinary Sam, and it's all about hope and the cool things that she can do and other people with disabilities. The modeling agency that she's going through is Zebedee Model, and they have a couple of them, but it's Zebedee, Zebedee, and it is really, really something. It's international, so it's all over the world. I would highly recommend you check that out. And then Runway of the Dreams, which is the modeling opportunity for people with special needs. They've been doing it for years, and I hope she gets to do that for years to come. And I, again, can't thank you enough for this opportunity. So thank you.
Of course, I just wanted to also ask, is that Runway thing a live? Like, is it like a live stream that we can watch, or will they post it after? How does that work?
I am not 100% sure how it's going to work. I know I believe it's going to be live the day of, and I think you'll be able to watch it after. One of the coolest things about that, though, is they did get a national brand, Zappos, the amazing online shoe company. They're the ones that are the sponsors for it. So they sent her a cute pair of Steve Madden shoes and a really pretty dress. And my understanding it will be live. I haven't had the opportunity to watch one live, so I don't know what it's going to look like, other than she's going to be in it and some of her friends will be in it.
All right.
either how, no matter how it plays out, we're your followers and our followers. We're going to know about your journey with your Instagram, and hopefully you can also post it. If it's not live, you can maybe post some pictures or things like that, so your following and our following can also like see what's up with Sam, So yeah. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast or watching if you're doing on YouTube. So also follow us, Spread the Love on Instagram. There's spr.eadtha and blah 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 blah. Spread the love. So yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this podcast, and please stick around and you can listen to more in the near future. So thank you again so much for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.